Good morning, everybody. Here's the green light. I have a green shirt on. St. Patrick's Day. Let me go post our link on our website. Website is denverguitarorchestra.com. And from there you can pick up all the sheet music and our daily schedule and learn to play fingerstyle guitar and start your own guitar orchestra. Nobody does that. Let's see. Done. Space. Paste. Oops, what happened there? Space. Paste. That's what I did. Control Z, Control Z, Z. No. Undo. All right. Let me go grab the link again, and sometimes it doesn't copy. I don't know why. Paste, Shift, highlight, link, enter, edit, settings, open a new window, update, and update. Isn't that crazy? It takes that many things just to post a link. All right, and then we view the page, make sure it's working. That'll help everybody get in to come rock with us. Today we're playing 215, link 259, that's correct. Today we are playing the Segovia Patterns again, as always. Brother John, we're going to start a song called Prelude Number 9 and then Torito. So those are two kind of new songs. They're both really focused in around arpeggio patterns, and so we're going to be checking on those. And then finally, our tomorrow we'll be playing Lesson 61, which is our last of the 5 new songs of the week. And let's see. Oh, I wish I had time for that. All right, let me go post on Twitter that we're doing this. https:// Denver Orchestra.com, denverguitarorchestra.com, and then I always put on it's funny, on YouTube they're real particular of what type of imagery you use on your videos, which is crazy because then they record unlimited amounts of actual video. So it's not like they're saving space. But on Twitter I can put on the good logo and bloop, there it is. I'm gonna have to fix that one of these days. Alright, so there's that. I have officially tweeted. Alright, and let me close out that window. Okay, there's that. Let me close that window. Looks like Tiger Woods has made it home. Breaking news. And all right, we're all set. So grab your Segovia Patterns, everybody, and then you're loading in here. I want to play those every day until I'm good at them. And of course, we've only been playing one measure of the Segovia Patterns. Once I get comfortable, once I get done with my videotaping of measure 1, then we'll move on to measures. The next 2, we have an A melodic pattern, which is really hard to play, and then the G major pattern, which is not as hard, but certainly hard enough. And we'll be playing all that stuff. Let me make sure we're in tune this morning. I closed the door on the room and left the humidifier running overnight, and so it's like a sauna in here. We can live with that. Let's see who's made it in so far this morning. Vic is in. She says I sound good. It's chilly it's chilly but sunny in Eugene, and it's interesting because Vic, I'm looking out. We are cold. We are cloudy. It looks kind of foggy out there. Looks a little bit like a Lord of the Rings type setting outside of my window. And so you're winning by a long shot. Good morning, Evelyn, in from Ecuador. Sound is good. Torito and the other new ones are on the MP. They're not in the MP3s. I should put them in there, shouldn't I? 63 degrees and partly cloudy in Cuenca. I forgot. I loaded those up into a separate file because for my own use, which is, I should never think like that. I'm like, it's going to be just for me. And then, of course, I end up having you guys do it too. So, no, I don't have an MP3 posted for those, but I can definitely do that. And so, I don't know. I need my to-do list. I'll put it over on this computer. And I'll just write guitar sound files, guitar sound files, and hopefully I'll know what that means when I get back to it. All right, let's grab Segovia Patterns. Monday we did I am, IR, and we didn't even do the Segovia Patterns yesterday. So today, we did I am and IR. So today, let's do M, R, middle ring. Let's see, Wednesday. Let's do middle ring, and then ring middle. R, M. How about that? So middle ring going the first time, and then do ring middle the second time. Okay, trying to get those guys to cooperate. Same, just measure 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so I was even questioning my left hand at that point. So, all right, so anyway, there we go. Rings and middles and rings. There we go. What are you gonna do? Not so great. All right, there's your Segovia Patterns. Let's go grab Brother John. Let's get that knocked out of the way. Yesterday was the first day with Brother John, and so for those of you that are newer, that's the most important piece of music that we have in our entire repertoire. It teaches you everything you're going to need to know, pretty much, as a fingerstyle player, and get you up and running correctly. So first thing on Brother John, let's make sure your E chord is coming together. First thing, let's make sure guitar is in tune. The phrase that pays is patience, patience, patience. Eddie ate dynamite. Good by Eddie. And so it's E, A, D, G, B, E. The most important tool in your guitar life is a Snark ST8. Any other tuner is less than that. And then it's $14 on Amazon. Just get one. Then how you hold the guitar. I am holding the guitar. I am holding the guitar correctly. This is how you want your guitar to be held. One of the things I use is this little gadget here. This turned out to be surprisingly helpful. I hated it when it first showed up, and I kind of have learned to get used to it. And now I don't think I will ever play without one. It allows my feet to be flat on the floor. Keeps the guitar in proper playing position ish. I like to have it up a little bit higher, and I can't quite get it up any higher. But it is what it is. And then. So if I had my druthers, I would make it a little more adjustable than it is. And they have several kinds out there, but this is good. and it stays by itself, right? It's not going anywhere, so I'm not having to put any extra effort into holding it. And then, so holding the guitar and tuning the guitar were two of the big issues from yesterday. Making sure your thumb is here and not coming up over the top. Your thumb should never be seen when you're playing acoustic guitar. And then the E chord, three strings up, 1, 2, 3. That's your index finger goes there. Second fret, you go 5 strings up with your middle finger, and then 4 strings up with your ring finger. Okay. First note on this is Fre. That's where you're going to be singing at, pretty high. Fre. If that's too high, you can always go to your D string and go to the second fret. You're already holding it down. Fre. That's also another E. Anchor your voice around that. Fre. That's probably where I'll go. Fre. And let's go from there. 1, 2, ready, play. Frere Jacques, Frere Jacques, dormez-vous, dormez-vous, sonnez les matines, sonnez les matines, ding, ding, dong, ding, ding, dong. Yesterday we talked about playing with 4 fingers as a claw. It's a day 1 activity. We want to make sure you get started on that as soon as possible. We can also do our thumb. 1, 2, 3, 4. Are you sleeping? Are you sleeping, Brother John? Brother John. Morning bells are ringing. Morning bells are ringing. Ding, ding, dong. Ding, ding, dong. And for those of you that are been around a little while, you of course know the 8 pattern: thumb, index, middle ring, thumb, index, middle ring. Are you sleeping? Are you sleeping, Brother John? Brother John. Morning bells are ringing, morning bells ringing, ding, ding, dong, ding, ding, dong. Okay. So 3 different, with never changing anything over here and just singing the song. I can use a thumb strum, I can use a pluck, and I can also use an arpeggio pattern. That's the reason I don't have you hold a pick, is because now by not holding a pick, I got 3 possible patterns, 3 possible ways of strumming or making sound come out of the guitar. If I have a pick, I only have one way, and I'm stuck with that. I can go down with it, I can come back up with the pick, but those are my only 2 choices with the pick. You can, of course, pick individual strings, but it's way harder to do and not necessary. All right. Next, play the melody. Okay, that's the next thing we talked about yesterday. Top line of the guitar melody line is the bottom string on your guitar. So let's do that. Hit a 0. Then let's hold down the 2, 2nd fret. Use your pinky to hold down the 4th fret. And then it's a 0 again. Repeat that idea. Measure 3, it's going to be 4, 5, 7. Again. And then you got 7, 9, 7, 5, 4, 0. Start with your ring finger. 7, pinky on 9, ring on 7, middle on 5, index on 4, and open. Repeat the idea. Measure 7, it's the 1st string, then the 2nd string, 1st string, 1st string, 2nd string, 1st string. Okay. The repeats are the other thing that we are working on in this piece of music. When you get to measure 8, it says go back to the top, and that's what you do. The second time you come through, you don't play measure 8, you skip over to 9. Let's play it together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry. Again. switched over to my index middle and started fighting the song like terrible. So obviously still more to learn there. So if you're book 1, that's it. That's all. Now you're out. Okay, now that's all you need to be working on this week. If you are book 2 and above, you also want to be working on the tough tab. So here we go. Just one time through. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, what did I write there? Oh, okay. So I put a big E chord on the end. Probably going to eventually redo that ending. That ending seems kind of dumb. It should be. That chord should be in measure 10. All right, I'll move it over, and then I'm going to nuke that, and I'm going to do same as 8. All right, there we go. All right, I put those complicated repeats in on day 1 because you're going to have to learn how to read them anyway, and so we might as well just get over learning them, right? Okay, let's move on. That's Brother John, and those of you who are new, that's what you should be working on. The rest of today is just chat. Okay, let's go to Prelude number 19 or number 9. Prelude number 9 is what we're looking for right now. Dun-dun-dun-dun. OP, Prelude OP. It's not there. Why is it not there? Go back over here. Go down into storage. Download guitar. Metro. That's where it's at. There it is. Prelude number 9. Goodness sakes. Now, those of you guys who have been around a while, you can look at it and be like, oh, that's an arpeggio pattern, hopefully. Right? You see the pattern. That pattern never changes except for the very last measure. So, we know right off the bat, you're going to be thinking about thumb, index, middle, ring, middle, index. Okay. Guess what that is? It's Metallica. Exactly how, I don't remember which song they have that starts like that. Okay, now that's that. We'll play a little Metallica. Switch to your C chord, the same exact pattern. Go to measure 5. Put your A minor on. And then major 7. And you've got your D7 chord on. Measure 9, you're going to go with the D6. 11, you're still a D6 chord, but you're just changing the melody note to a 3, to a high G. And then bring it back. And then finish up with E minor. See, measure 16, there's a tie on the very last note It's a tied note, so that there is going to, instead of coming back down, you hit that note, and then you're going to hit that E string one last time. Now, obviously, this piece is designed to teach you arpeggio picking with thumb, right? So if you were to go through again, we'll play through it one more time. Again, I wrote on there basso ostinato. That means that the bass just stays the same no matter what's going on, and this song could definitely be improved by not having basso ostinato, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second. But that's what's written on the paper, and so first we learn how to play it with what's written on the paper. The other thing, noticing in the standard notation at the top, there's two notes being shared at the same time. The first note is an eighth note, and right next to it, attached to it, is a dotted half note. What that's basically telling you is that this is going to be part of the melody, but the bass note is going to ring through the entire measure, and so that's what the standard notation is telling you. And it's probably more information than you need, because there's no chance you're going to stop that while you go play the other notes. And so no reason necessarily for it to be written like that. The other way to have written it would have been to put a eighth note rest as the first measure on the melody. That probably would have been more correct. And then a single note there as your ringing, what rings through as your basso ostinato. And so let's play it one more time, just like it's written, and then we'll go through and we'll talk about how we would make this song better. 1, 2, 3. Because they ends on quarter notes, you might let them ring a little bit longer, but then you probably do want to shut the guitar down. That's what the sheet music says to do. Let that go on. It's the last note of the song, so you can let it go a little bit longer than usual, but probably because it's written like that, you probably don't want to just let it, like we normally talk about, bong, and just let your guitar ring forever. You probably do want to shut it down after a quarter note length, but maybe a little bit longer than a quarter note, because it is the last note of the song. You'll notice just by holding those chord shapes, everything else pops into place. I kind of goofed up measure 3 when I didn't get my C chord on fast enough. Now, if you wanted to make the song better, you can make the bass notes match the melody, the chord shapes, and so we would start just showing you how to rewrite songs to make them better. Start with your E minor. Everything's fine in this measure. And again, there's a Metallica song that starts off exactly like that. Then you're going to grab your C chord, and instead of plucking the open and E again, go down and pluck your 5th string. You're holding a C over here. Now you've root noted this chord. Measure 5, when you put your A minor on, again, use your low A string and play it that way. When you get to that D7, you've got your D string. Use that as your 4th. Pluck your 4th. Stay with your D string on your thumb, but make this sixth the D6th shape. Go to that, move that up to a 3. And then come back to your regular D6. Now, if it were me and I was writing this song, I would probably put in an A minor between the last D6 and the final E minor, sort of bringing it down and then bringing it back. And they've got a D, the composer Aaron, he put a D there because D, like when you're in minor, that D chord likes to resolve to E minor. But you think about E, F, G, E, F, G, A, B. You might even do yourself a favor by putting a B chord in there, putting that B7 in right before your E minor. And then closing out with the E minor. So again, I like to take pieces of music, learn what's written on the page, figure them out, and then I like to go through and I like to fix them. And that is definitely not encouraged if you are going to be an academic guitarist and just do what you're told, which is, there's some benefit in that. There's a lot of benefit in that, I think. But I also think it's music, and I think if you're not taking a piece of music and sort of deconstructing it and putting it back together in your own way, you've missed an opportunity. Let's play it one more time. From the top. 1, 2, 3. And again, pretty decent little tune just in and of itself. It makes it sounds dramatic. Not hard to play, hopefully, if you've got your claw in shape and you're understanding, hey, thumb is one part of the music and these three fingers are going to be the other part of the music. And that's pretty typical in classical guitar. I think, I know that you're going to be using your thumb on these three strings a whole lot, just like in cowboy music, and you're going to be using these three fingers on these three strings a whole lot, you end up with some pretty nice music. You basically are treating the guitar as two separate instruments, your bass guitar and your treble guitar, and they're happening simultaneously, which is pretty cool. All right, to be clear, on the original sheet music, they did not include the chords, but by writing the chords down, all of a sudden you have a very simple roadmap to help you play these chords. And so why classical musicians insist on not giving you these kinds of chord grids, it's elitism, right? They want you to figure it out on your own, and if you can't figure it out, they don't have any use for you. And so I do think the chord grids help out a ton. If you're playing off of the tablature, which I do as well, again, it really lays it out pretty simply as what you're supposed to do. Now, this song is pretty straightforward with the standard notation as well. There's nothing terribly complex there to confuse us. So, all right, there's Prelude number 9. We'll play that again on Friday. And then let's go grab Torito, which is, again, a similar lesson, but a little bit more complex piece of music. And so let's go take a look at this one. Now, this one, we get to use a guitar form that I hardly ever use because I don't enjoy making the form. But so let's go through and make sure we have our chords together for this one. This one's a little bit more difficult. So now, instead of being in a minor key, we're going to be in a major key. So your first chord is an A. And notice it's sitting on a C blank. There's no sharps or flats in the key signature, so these are going to be showing up inside of the music themselves as accidentals. And so right off the bat, you see a C sharp there in measure 1. Now, why the composer chose to do that and not put this on an A blank, I'm not entirely sure, but maybe it's a little cleaner, a little clearer as a standard piece of notation. So that's your first chord. Your next chord's a B flat. I don't often do these chords, but you're going to take your index finger on 1, and then you move these 3 guys into an A shape on 3. Okay. And already you can feel the tension in the song. If you're starting on A, you go to a B flat, and you're going to go back to an A. Sounds very Spanish. James Mirtenbaum Zenamon. I don't know if he's Spanish or not. I doubt it. Doesn't sound Spanish. He might be. You never know. So A chord. Slide it up to a B chord. Slide it back to an A chord. Slide it to a G chord. And you'll see on the tablature there, you're not going to use a 3 on this. You're going to use an open E string. Get some more tension, and then go back to A chord, B flat, C chord, B flat, or B flat, A chord, and then measure 10. Quite obviously, measure 10 is the end of the first idea, and so then we're going to go back and repeat it again, or at least we're going to end at the first idea, and then I always go through and I double check, well, is the second idea the same as the first? And it looks like it is, just glancing it over. So let's go through that from 11 through 19. Go. Oh, that's not true. Now at 11, fascinating, at 11 switches to an A minor. So you're very different feeling. So this should have a double bar at the end of 10. Okay. So you get to measure 10 and you wrap it up with A major. That is exactly why he put it on a C major blank. It's actually an A minor blank. Now we're going to go to A minor. And then you're going to go up to B minor. B flat minor, sorry. So we might as well start your A minor with your middle ring and pinky, and then slide up to B flat minor, and back to A minor. Now go to the G chord, then back to A minor, B flat minor, C chord, B flat minor, A minor, and then you only, and there's an A chord here, but it's only one note, so you probably, and it's actually an E note. It's going to bring some light back into it. So the ending is going to be like the sun coming out. So I think the opening section feels very sunny, then it gets the clouds roll in, and then measure 20, the sun comes back out again. Alright, so those are your chords. The only one that is new to us would be this B flat shape. I almost never do that. If I'm going to play a B flat, I'm going to play a bar there with my pinky up on 6. But not always. Well, yeah, always. But this shape here does come up. That B flat shape does come up. Alright, so then let's take a look at the standard notation or the tablature. So put your A chord on, probably again using your middle ring and pinky, since you know you're going to be going to the next measure. And I looked through the song, and really the first part of the song is on the first 3 strings, so I'm probably going to do thumb, index, middle, rather than ring, index, middle, ring, but you could do it either way. There's not probably any rules there. Nancy's asking an important question. You have a B flat at measure 2. Okay? Okay, this is the chord. But the first string is open. So do you really have to do that? And no is the answer. No. Because that's the sound you're really going to be making. You know, just like in Tough Uke on all of the other things, here's the chord, but the melody will will adjust it depending on what you want to do. So yeah, absolutely, Nancy, you don't have to put that down. I just pick the strings when the chords don't seem to help. Should I be using more chords? So I have an opinion on that, but it may not necessarily match up. Every song is not the same. If you can put on chord shapes, it dramatically reduces the amount of work that you have to do. In this case, there's no question that an A chord at the beginning reduces the amount of work. Now you could just pick. You could be thinking it through and be like, all right, I'm just going to use 2 there. But now I have put work into that I don't need to. If I'm just got my A chord on, I just know automatically my body's much more set up and much more has my chord shapes memorized over here, and so I just put them on there, and all of a sudden it delivers me that whole first measure. But you don't have to do that. You absolutely could just do index and middle, and then when you get to measure 2, just slide them up. Now I'm going to use 3 because the other thing that happens is you start getting sympathetic vibrations from your other strings, and this is worse on electric guitar or a guitar that's acoustic guitar that's plugged into an amplifier. That the more of the chords you put on, the more likely it is the other strings are going to resonate in the correct chord, and so it tends to sound a little better. It's not a 100% guarantee, but it usually sounds a little better. So with this song, since I'm doing 2-2-0-2, measure 1, I'm putting my A chord on. Now I'm going to just slide these 3 strings up, 3 fingers up to the next fret. Okay, and when I'm doing that, this D string is ringing in a better. It's going to be sympathetically vibrating in a better. On a better note. If I just use 2, this one's the A chord. Now this string left open is going to be ringing as a D. That's not helpful. Then I'm going to move up to B flat. It's still going to be ringing as a D. Again, not really helpful. But if I use the actual chord shape, now this one is ringing as an E and then an F, and those are helpful. Okay, so that's why I would recommend you do that. It's not required, and certainly you have to think about playability. If that makes it harder, then don't do it that way. Okay, so let's do this. Let's do this beginning section of this song and see what we end up with. Probably thumb, index, and middle. Ready? Go. 2, 2, 0, 2, 2, 2, 0, 2, 3s, 3. Go back. 2, 2, 0, 2, 2, 2, 0, 2. Then a G. You wouldn't grab the whole chord here probably. You might grab these upper 2 notes just to help them ring correctly. And then back to the A. To the B flat. C is very different, right? You're going to do index, and then go grab your B flat, and back to A. And make sure you get your thumb, bung, and let that ring for a second. Now we're going to switch your chord shape to an A minor. And we're going to switch the strings we're using all the way down to 5, 4, and 3 and go from there. And then you're going to, again, slide these 2 guys up. Slide back. G chord. This is interesting. You're going to have an open A. It's going to sound weird. Your ring finger off, and back to your B flat. Put these two on 3. Back to A minor. And that sounds like blum, blum, blum. That sounds like the end of a movie or something. Make sure your A chord and you're hitting the correct strings of 4, 3, 2, and 1. And of course, those of you guys that are working on reading standard notation, this begins that journey of being able to recognize your chord shapes just by looking at where the dots are on the paper up above there. Obviously, an E string has 3 ledger lines. It's below the 3rd ledger line. 0, 0, 0 is a D, a G, and a B. I'm sorry. A minor is, the A chord, A on the bottom, E in the middle, A above that, and then a C sharp on top. Okay. And so that's what that looks like. All right, so those are, how are we doing on time? So that's the plan, is to play that. Again, Nancy's point is well taken. What if I didn't hold the chords? What if I just went after the strings I need? I think you can do that. I do think you can do that. I don't necessarily think on this piece that I'd recommend it, because I do think the chords are playing an important role in helping you get your hands on correctly. The other thing on this piece of music that's super important is that the instructions on quiet versus loud. And so we never talk about this in my arrangements, because I almost never put them on there, because it's I don't know. I just don't put them on. I figure that should be artist choice. But in this one, they're telling us what we're supposed to do. So measure 1, it starts off mezzo piano. Very quiet. Not as quiet as you can get, but very quiet. Get it a little bit louder and then come back down. So bum 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 bum. Right? And then on measure 5 through measure 9, you will have a bigger crescendo coming up, louder, louder, louder. And then you have a decrescendo coming down quieter. Okay, and then when you get to 11, you start off loud, mezzo forte, pretty loud. I would say on guitar, especially acoustic guitar, it's hard to get the subtleties of all of the volume pitches on there. But mezzo forte is pretty loud, so they want you to be aggressive, loud, and then by the time you get into the middle of measure 2, that's probably as loud as you can play, and then drop it down a little bit. And then the same thing happens at G. Bring it up, and then they're very clear at 17. That should be as loud as, that C chord should be as loud as you can play. That should be as loud as you can play, and then you're going to bring that all the way down to measure 20. Very quiet there. So this piece, there's plenty of things to learn on here. It was actually kind of fun to think about. All right, let's give it a try and see how many of those things you can remember as we went through it. From the top, 1. Oh, it's in 2/4. That's the other thing I should mention. These are 16th notes. Also notice the meter is set to 60. 16th notes are really, really fast, and so you have to set the meter very slow in order to make a rational hope of you being able to play it at any kind of speed. And you're in 2/4, so you notice every single measure has 2 blocks of 16th notes. So the first block is 1 and 2, or 1 E and and then the next block is 2 E and is how you are supposed to count that correctly. Now, I wouldn't even bother counting it like that. I would count as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and is how I would count it. But I'm not as particular about that sort of stuff as other teachers might be. A chord. Let's give it a try. 1, 2. Yeah, sorry. Okay, so I play it horribly. I like to work on that tonight and get that second half quite a bit better. Nancy says, if they don't show those sound arrows, how do you know how loud to play different pieces? Sorry, full of questions. Nancy, I'm glad these are the kind of questions we need to ask and answer, because I think they're important. I think you are asking the very important questions. That you're not full of questions. You're asking important thoughts. When they don't have the sound arrows, and we call those dynamics, so that's the fancy word for sound arrows. I like your description. I like your words better. When you don't see those at all, you as the musician get to make those choices. And so most classical music, most of it, will be fairly specific about it. The composers like to give you that information. And most classical music that you read, it will tell you. A lot of the production stuff, like you see from popular bands, you'll see that sometimes in there. Play this louder, play this quieter, and so on. But if it's not there, it's a judgment call, and so you kind of fall back on the things we've talked about. If there's rising action going on, we tend to get louder. If there's falling action, we tend to get quieter. And then, of course, you can also decide to break all the rules and play super loud at first or super quiet. It's sort of up to you. I think, generally speaking, when we're working at home and we're just learning a song, we probably play everything pretty much at mezzo, right? Pretty much medium. But you can make your guitar playing a lot more interesting by adding in some quiet areas and some louder areas. And like I say, when I do arrangements, I very rarely put this type of stuff in unless I think it's super important, because then you get the choice of making those decisions about your dynamics and what you want in terms of volume from your instrument. But with classical music, they tend to be a lot more specific. And here's the perfect example right off the bat, early on in your classical education of, hey, you're going to play this quiet, and then you're going to get louder, and then you're going to get quieter, right? And really the purpose of this as an educational tool is, hey, these things exist. It gives you a chance to practice on your guitar. You don't practice it unless it tells you to, right? Mezzo piano, not as loud as you can be, or quiet as you can be, but pretty quiet. And then the song gets louder and louder until you're full volume at 17, and then you're going to bring that all the way down to the quietest possible sound at measure 20. And so, yeah, so that's great question, Nancy. If they don't put it in there, you get to decide, and you'll use your best judgment on that in terms of what you're trying to do with the song. So thanks for asking that question. Okay, that's enough for today. A little bit over on time. I'm going to work on Torito to get it better. Tomorrow we grab our last of the new songs, which is Lesson 61, and we will probably nuke Daisy Bell for tomorrow, and we will probably just play through some of this other stuff. We'll play through Torito again for sure. So I plan on Lesson 61 and Torito for tomorrow rather than Daisy Bell. We'll move Daisy Bell into the next week. And then remember, tomorrow night, there is no class tomorrow night. I'm still packaging up the 3 new songs, Something, Strawberry Fields, and When I'm 64. I will make sure all of you guys get that. If you did not send me an email yet that you want it, please do. That way I can make sure you have it for the week to be working on. And that's what I know about guitar today. Nancy, Vic, Evelyn, good to see all of you guys. And I will see some of you either in harmonica or ukulele, and I will see the rest of you in guitar class tomorrow. I think of the songs that we worked on so far this week, Torito is by far the most interesting in terms of what you have to learn. I don't think it's necessarily the best sounding one. The one we play tomorrow, this Lesson 61, is super cool sounding, so it'll be fun. And again, it doesn't necessarily cooperate with the chord rules like we have that tendency to do in fingerstyle. So, all right, guys, I'll let you go. Have a wonderful day, and I will see all of you tomorrow. Thanks for being here.